Well. It's been a whole year since we started this whole thing. What have we discovered? In order for this YouTube channel to survive well into the next few years, its long-term future guaranteed is that whatever house I move into next has one of these. Or else, what am I, really? Just a guy. Just talking about Formula One. And with no ladder. This is part of me. You made this. And for that, I thank you immensely. This entire channel is now 1 year old today. When I first made that welcome video, I wasn't really sure where this whole thing was going to go. Originally, it was meant to be my creative outlet to talk about Formula One, because in all of the years I've been following this sport, I really did not have any place to talk to that was a long-term guarantee. Sure, I had people at school, and I actually noticed one of them in the comments was somebody I went to secondary school with, which was a really, really big mind-blowing. Good to know they're still around. But that was it. We played Jeff Crammon's Grand Prix 3 together. We had online tournaments where you had to upload files to get your race guaranteed, and you have your time and there would be some kind of peril. Oh, those were original sim racing leagues, I can tell you that. After that, there wasn't really any consistent place I could share my love for Formula One. Until I got meeting people on the convention circuit, and then my mind being blown that they liked Formula One, and we just got on famously. Now, we have over 30,000 people on this channel to this day following what I've got to say up here on this ladder. And me discovering that the ladder was the future of my success. It's all about the ladder. I've already climbed the ladder. Maybe I have to extend it. Can it go any further? We will go a little bit further, and no, that's as far as it goes. And going back to that purge that I had in April, after that whole chicanery when I was doing race watch-alongs, and then the channel got nobbled because I was using F1's own specific timing, which I didn't even know was a thing you could do, and vex them so, it just made me realize that I had to start again and try and figure out what my identity would be for this channel. And now I have found it. And it's something that I'm really, really proud of. And it's now gotten me to be on things like the Last Lap podcast, be on the DRS Train podcast, starting to put out the feelers in terms of who I can connect with and where I can share my passion with. And that's been such a really big trip, and I can't wait to see what could happen next. But if my destiny is just meant to be up here in the attic, on this ladder with you folks, that'd be okay too, because it's been a really, really fun trip, and replying to all of the comments, yes, I do reply to all of them, has been absolutely crucial in building out my understanding about the nuances and intricacies of Formula One, because there are things that I do not know or I don't understand fully. And thanks to your comments, be them nice or not so nice, I learn things. And it's important to have criticism, to find out what you're doing well and what could be improved, or things you are downright being wrong. And that's okay. And that's something I've really taken to heart and studied and made myself determined to improve upon. It's all gone into making the videos what they are. And instead of me just being an armchair pundit and not really having any outlet to talk about it, I've just become a ladder pundit. Okay, we'll stop talking about the ladder now. I've stroked its ego long enough. Sorry. But when it comes to those intentions and the biases, yes, of course, I do show my biases sometimes. I'm just a regular Formula One fan, and I do get overexcited about some drivers and some drivers that I don't particularly care for. And I am promising myself to, in 2024, just be a little bit more pragmatic and a little bit more aware about the achievements, and just doubling down upon something I've said through the entire year about giving credit where it is due. And that's something very important for you to learn, folks, that sometimes you have a driver which you do not like, you hate their guts to a passion. But if they do something good and they have done something which is laudable, then you must give them credit, because it's an achievement. It's important to remember the positives and what made them get into Formula One in the first place. So that's something I have taken to heart and I have learned more and more about. I'm trying to contain it. That's why I have the bobble-hatted bias for McLaren, that you know when I'm getting a little bit gushy over McLaren. And I suppose now that acquisition there, that's not helped either. By the way, that was actually a charity shop find in Oxfam, and I got that for 15 quid. Done by a guy called Arthur Benjamins, and he did loads of artwork in F1 back in like the 80s or 90s or something. He's really well renowned, and some of them have gone for a lot of money, but you know what? This is the kind of thing you would find in an attic. You really would, and I'm so glad that my wife pointed this out. We were coming back from a Christmas fair and she saw this in the window and was like, is that an F1 car? Is that a McLaren? I'm like, yeah, it is. More window dressing will be coming to partner up the lonely Oscar Piastri cap. So the bias with Oscar, yeah, that's strong too. Yeah, again, I'm trying to contain it, folks. The engagement with the audience and the community and you folks, this has been something really fun and something that I've been wanting to scratch for years and years and years, and I've realized that. Whether or not I can actually maintain this idea of replying to every single comment going into the future as the channel grows, I don't know, but I will try and I will dedicate as much time as I can to replying to everybody and getting to know you fine folks. But after a whole year, it just makes me think, well, what else can we do on this channel for 2024? Well, more of the same, really. I look back at the original videos and I realized that there are things I really struggled with, and thanks to these videos, I've been able to be a little bit more confident on camera and really just be more willing to go off the cuff and launch myself into these little tirades or this little bit of chicanery or japery or just being a little bit silly. And I know that can be cringy sometimes, but that's just me. I'm just making these videos for my own personal benefit, and if you happen to like it, then cool. If you don't, oh well, at least you took your time and watched it to the point where you couldn't stomach me anymore, and I do appreciate that and your patience and your dedication for at least some sort of period of time. It's something, you heard me out. But I suppose for 2024, what I would really like to see more of is just getting myself out there and just refining my craft more and more. Ideally, I would love to get to 50,000 subscribers by the time we get lights out in Bahrain in a couple of months' time, or maybe 100,000 subscribers by the end of next year in 2024. That'd be fantastic. If it doesn't, then no matter. It's fine. I'm happy to grow at whatever rate the channel is comfortable with, just so long as I'm happy with the way I'm producing content, and you folks are happy with the way I produce content up here on this ladder. And I know I may make videos out there, down there, in the real world, and that might be frightening because the ladder isn't involved, but I don't know, maybe I might just stick one of these or something in the background, so you know that the attic's not that far away or something, but it's something that I have been tempted to do. Make more outside stuff and something that is a little bit more multi-dimensional and bring you along for the ride. I also want to be approachable to up-and-coming and casual fans, people who have discovered Formula One for the first time, because there's nothing worse than gatekeeping, because I've seen that throughout many fandoms that I've been involved with over the years, and gatekeeping is something I just simply cannot abide by. If somebody is curious to learn something and it's completely new to them, but it's very obvious to people more experienced, then that's okay. Feel free to ask me questions and what you may want to know more of, and I will do my best to provide you an adequate response, or the best place for you to learn a bit more in detail. And if you are a casual fan, thank you for entrusting me with your beginnings within this particular sport. Sure, 2023 may not have been the most illuminating or downright spectacular season if you're talking about competition down to the last entry and last race of the season, but in terms of everything else, it's been an absolute bonanza. All the stuff that we've seen, Aston Martin coming out of nowhere, McLaren's resurgence for the first time since 2009, Ferrari and Mercedes duking it out and then having wibbly wobbly times, and Red Bull's complete and utter domination and getting the regulations right. We've seen tons of stories this year. And even though the obvious one about who is going to be the world champion was kind of sewn up very early on, there have been plenty of other narratives to discover, and something that new fans should be really aware of, that it's not all just about who's going to be champion, it's also about who is going to cause a sensation further down the grid. And if you are still watching right now, all I've got to say is thank you so much. This has been such an enjoyable discovery and something that has really helped me get out of a creative rut, finding myself just coasting, figuring out what I want to do as YouTube's becoming more and more competitive and more uncertain about its integrity going forward into the later 2020s. This has been such a breath of fresh air to just unleash my passion to the world, something that I've really kept bottled up inside for the longest time. And I just can't thank you enough for hearing me out and subscribing to the channel and just being here to listen to what I have to say. That my opinions do have some sort of value, even though sometimes I do talk rubbish and I do talk for a very, very long time. You hear about one news article, boom, I can talk about it for about 20 minutes. That's just me. If you ever meet me, what you see here is what you're going to get in reality. This is just me. I love talking about Formula One. And if you are really thinking about finding other ways to support the channel and support what I do here, there are ways that you can do it, which gets you involved in the entire LawVS community and the posse. First off, you can press the join button below and become a member. It goes to supporting the channel. It's just a nice little means of being part of the posse. It gets you some nice little icons, and it also gets you access to a special little Discord that I have with a growing set of members. The community growing by the day, and many takes and many photos being shared, just building up the LawVS posse, which is really, really nice. So that is one way to do it. Of course, you can just subscribe below to get the videos as soon as they drop, or maybe you can check out the LawVS merch store. That is something that I'm slowly working on. There is some standard merchandise right there right now, but in 2024, I'm going to be a little bit more on the nose and more current with certain little tropes that come along within Formula One, as well as some little jokey bits of merch that I think of on the fly and I just feel like dropping for a couple of weeks. Like, I have some ideas, and I drive past a very well-known British supermarket, and the name comparison between one driver and that name is just too good to pass up. So do watch out for those. Or you can get yourself a standard cap or a beanie or your own bubble hat in the style of the LawVS logo. But all that remains to be said, folks, is just thank you for sticking around. It really means a lot, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And it will continue to be a lot of fun as well. And when it comes to this usual segue about me recommending you a video that you should be watching next, according to the minds I have and the algorithm that powers this very station, I think you may like this video. Yeah, this one, it's a video. Ooh.